The DNC is not only still $20 million in debt, but apparently almost flat out broke. The Washington Examiner, quoting, federal records show the DNC's cash reserves shrank by $4 million from January to April compared to the Republican National Committee's coffers, which grew by about $29 million over the same period. The DNC entered May with $18 million. Keep in mind they have $20 million in debt, while the RNC entered with $67.4 million.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Financially speaking, the Democrats are in dire straits right now because all of their big money donors, their billionaires, are saying, we've had enough. After Kamala Harris blew the campaign where she spent over $1 billion, why in the heck would any of these people want to throw good money after bad? Especially when the Democrats have no real party leadership and, of course, have no real party platform to run on. And that's exactly what we're going to see being discussed over here with Mark Halperin. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Look at these headlines about the Democratic Party. 110, Politico, weak, whiny, and invisible regarding the DNC chair, Ken Martin. Here's the New York Times, 112. Sorry, having trouble reading this. The DNC is in chaos and desperate for cash. And here's the Washington Post, 113. Democrats want to fight Trump, but they can't stop fighting each other. Mr. Martin, by all accounts, is a very nice guy. I got nothing against him personally. I said from the beginning, they need a stud chair. They need someone who is a colossus. They need someone in the mold of Haley Barbour or Ron Brown. And instead, what they got is Joe Andrew. You know who Joe Andrew is? Joe Andrew was the DNC chair.
Yeah.
And once President Bush was asked a question about, well, Joe Andrew says da-da-da. And you know what President Bush said?
Who's Joe Andrew?
Who's Joe Andrew? Dan, are these stories just a bunch, as the chairman and his people say, just a bunch of Washington, D.C. inside gossip? Or is there anything in those three pieces that if you were a Democrat, you'd actually be worried about?
There's a lot in those pieces that I would be worried about. I mean, and we don't have enough time, but I'll just say, two big ones. One is money. Like we've always talked about this. The job of the chairman is to raise money and then use it to build infrastructure and kind of have a pot of cash for campaigns to use to support them in the midterms and for the president. It is being reported that the Republican National Committee has $68 million on hand and the DNC has $18 million. We have had 2-to-1, 3-to-1 cash on hand advantages the last 6 or 7 years, and now we are staring at a 3-to-1 disadvantage, and that's a huge problem. The stories are saying the committee's thinking of borrowing money. And that has not happened in over 25 years, since before Terry McAuliffe. The second is, and Mark, you've talked about this here and on other platforms, voter registration numbers continue to be terrible for the Democratic Party, and they continue to be very strong for the Republican Party. So money and infrastructure are the two big things that you're supposed to be doing. And then just the other thing is, it is not good when you have people like Donna Brazile and others saying, who is, for those who don't know, she is a very prominent Black figure in the Democratic Party, going back to when she ran Al Gore's campaign in 2000. She was like, he's not my cup of tea, basically. And like, I don't want to be his friend. I mean, that was taken aback.
Yeah. And Sean, before you jump in, I'll just say, picking up, Dan, on what you said, like, you have to be a titan to raise money when you're out of power. And you got to give people confidence. And I can't tell you the number of donors who said to me, like, I don't even want to meet with the guy. Like, what's the point? I don't want to write him a check. What's my money going for?
Look, there's been like 3 times in my entire life when I've said, read the New York Times. This is one of them. That story was brutal. Yeah. Dan's right. I mean, like, the number of people on the record crapping on the DNC is mind blowing. He hasn't even called the Soroses. Dude, that's like, at some point, like, you need to call the guys with the money. They literally, it was embarrassing, that story. A couple little small points. All money isn't created equal. Dan mentioned the disparity between the RNC and the DNC. There's 4 pots of money that a committee raises. The general pot, which is the sort of blood. It can be used for anything you want. Then we've resurrected the building fund, the legal fund, and the convention fund. So when you get people to give out, when you look at someone's total amount raised, it's deceiving sometimes because you might max out, you might raise $5 million in a building fund, but you're somewhat restricted in what you can use that for. So they have a bigger problem because their O-type blood of the money that they can use for anything, which is like pay staff, turn the computers on, all that kind of thing, is a problem right now. He has created this 57 quote state/territory a la Howard Dean strategy where he's committing $1 million a month, which, okay, I actually don't think that's a bad thing, but you can't do it when you don't have any money. Yeah. This is a problem. Over and over again, they don't have a strategy. That's a bigger problem. And everybody's saying it. He's not doing the basics.
So I haven't heard news this good in a long time. The Democrats are in complete panic and disarray. It's like they don't know what to do anymore, right? Without the advantages of money, how are they going to run their campaigns? Because it has been a long time, over 20 years, since the Republicans had any type of advantage. And of course, just to see kind of how bad this is, you can see that Republicans have cash on hand through the RNC, $72 million compared to $15 million in the Democrat Party. Okay. And then, of course, you have 172 million total between the RNC Senate campaigns, etc., compared to 146 million total with the DNC campaigns. Okay. But then, of course, you have to add in the fact that Donald Trump is sitting on over $600 million separately from all of that. Okay. And don't forget Kamala Harris. She blew through all her money. She has nothing left over. She actually overspent and has to still fundraise to try to pay off her campaign. All of which, of course, is tremendous news, right? The advantages the Republicans will have financially moving forward have not been seen in a generation, okay? And to make matters even worse for Democrats, you have recent Gallup polling that shows that, yes, 46% of Americans identify as Republican or leaning Republican versus 45% identifying as Democrat versus leaning Democrat, all right? This is a huge shift in the nation and leads to only a bright future, all right? The Democrats having no leadership, having no money, and of course, losing voters in droves. And of course, that answers the age-old question as to why in the world would they want a wide open border? But none of that matters now because all of their plans, all of their plots have now been stymied by Donald Trump. And thank goodness for that. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.